Hello everyone, and welcome to a review on making a DIY vapor blaster from a Harbor Freight sandblast cabinet. Here's your host to catch you up on why we're doing this.
Detour from working on the Nova because I got all the accessories on and I wasn't super happy with how all the aluminum looked. And I was kind of hemming and hawing on what direction I wanted to go to fix it, but it's just, typical aluminum, oxidized, dirty, all that. And I decided that instead of powder coating or painting or sanding, I was gonna vapor blast. The idea, I've just moved my sandblasting cabinet out of the corner. I'm gonna turn this into a vapor blaster. I'm gonna clean out all of the aluminum oxide that I have in here that I was using. I'm going to paint the inside of it with Flex Seal, right there. The whole thing is going to be Flex Sealed on the inside. I'm gonna take the window out and reseal the channel. I'm gonna take all the things out that don't need to be painted. You have to do all the edges and the cracks and crevices, otherwise all the water is going to go everywhere. If you don't know what a vapor blaster is, I'll insert a picture here.
Vapor blasting, also called wet blasting or aqua blasting, is a surface finishing process that combines abrasive media, water, and compressed air into a single pressurized slurry. Here's how it works. Abrasive media, typically fine glass beads, is mixed with water inside a blast cabinet. That slurry is then accelerated through a nozzle using compressed air and directed at the surface you're cleaning or finishing. When the wet abrasive hits the surface, the water acts as a lubricating cushion. Instead of the particles hammering in like dry sandblasting, they flow across the surface, peening and polishing as they go. This leaves behind a smooth, satin-like finish with no embedded abrasive particles. As it blasts, the water simultaneously flushes away contaminants, grease, carbon, oxidation, keeping the surface clean throughout the process. The result is a part that's degreased, cleaned, and finished in a single pass, with no dust, no warping, and a surface quality that's hard to match any other way.
Before and after speak for itself. I mean, it's amazing how good it is. It's kind of a no-brainer to turn this into something useful that I currently don't use. We're gonna have to cover this door because all this ends up being a pocket for water and glass beads, and then we'll have to make a little shelf that comes off here so that all the water goes down in there. And then there's a pump and a bunch of other things to put together, but right now we gotta get this vacuumed, torn apart, and get the painting started. A few days later, we have some progress. I have cleaned the whole thing out. I have created a block off for the top of the vent here, so the vacuum is gonna pull from this side, but the air is going to pull from this side. There's a hole right about here. The other thing that I did was I added a cover over that so that the water doesn't go into the vacuum from there, and not only riveted it, added rivets to it. I also epoxied it because I didn't want water getting pulled in from the edges, and because it's so thin on the sides, you can't really put any other attachment points. So we got some Gorilla Glue epoxy setting. So once that's done, we can start painting. I pulled off the gloves. I pulled off all the important things that don't need to be painted, and then everything else can be. That will be the rest of tonight. But the other parts that I have here, and we were not going for a color theme, but one appeared automatically. So I went to a thrift store where I got that pan, and I got this yoga mat or whatever this is. This is going to be a gasket for the windshield that you can see through, because we don't want water going out that way either. I might also use it for the gloves. And then we got the water hose that we're going to use for the pump and everything else. This was a used one on Amazon. Got it for a fraction of the price. And here's a pneumatic pedal. So basically we run all the air hoses to this. I think we only need 2 of these 3 ports. We blocked the one off possibly. And then once you stand on it, you add some air to the water slurry mixture. And that works good, I assume. We got a one-way check valve for the air because when the air is off, the water likes to go up the air line, which we don't like. And these are just some hose fittings so that we can get it all attached in the ways that we need. Let's get to painting. I did scuff all this with a sandpaper. Here it is. It's this sandpaper block that I had that seemed pretty coarse. It scuffed the paint, and that's what we needed. So we're gonna give it a wipe down. We're gonna wait for the epoxy to dry, and then we're gonna paint. I'll show you midway, I guess. All right, application 1 is done. Pretty happy with it. It's hard to get in a really small places with a really big brush, but for the most part we are applied. Do some fill in for the second coat, but I mean, if I only did one, I would feel a lot more confident that it was waterproof than it was before. So we will let it dry overnight and we will do the second one. And here is coat number 2. I think I'm going to leave it at 2 coats. It's basically got all of the paint and everything covered up. It's all white. There's very minimal red anywhere, maybe just in the brush lines. But most importantly, everything, with the exception of those little crevices there that I'll fill in a second, everything is sealed. All right, so we are going to seal the door up. It is important that you get all of this closed in so that you don't get a bunch of material in there, water and glass. And what I found was something cheap to cover it. So for the most part, it was the right size. I got 2 of them just in case. I think this is going to be enough. We're going to put some screws in there around the perimeter just to seal it in. And we got some liquid nails that hopefully will keep it sealed. So we're going to do that. All right, and here's where we will leave it until it is dry. I went ahead and ran some screws in around the perimeter. It's doing an okay job. Mostly what we needed was just to cover those holes and then for it to ramp out of the doorway. Hopefully that is enough. If not, I do have another sign that I can put on that edge of this to just kind of bring it out a bit more. All right, and here is what we have created for the 5-gallon bucket. So I had this fitting and the hose barb here, but ended up everything was a little bit too wide once it was in the bucket, and the 90 degree that it would have to be would probably pinch off the garden hose. So I actually found that I had a 3/4 fitting to a 10AN and some CPE. It's the non-PTFE line that I'll never use for anything because I don't trust it. It's perfect for this. It's just a rubber hose, but all of this fits snugly down in the bucket. And then what happens is, as it pressurizes the water, it agitates all of the sediment in the bottom so that the pump can pick it up, not just water. It gets the glass beads as well. It's not sitting firmly down. I think that should work just fine the way it is, and even being crooked, it's not a huge deal. It's just picking up water and glass media. And then obviously this goes up to the cabinet, which I haven't plumbed yet, but at least this part's done. And then I zip tied the float switch up so that it's always on. So this is starting to work. So I think we are in a good spot. I've had to make a lot of changes, a lot of iterations, learned a few things, but we're pretty good. So we have a pedal here for air, right? We got air in, we got air out, comes in, goes to here, loops around, goes through the gun, and then the water, same situation, just comes out of the pump and then goes straight in. I had these two backwards. So what would happen was when I'd give it air with the throttle, it would actually backfeed into the water and it would overcome the motor. So we swapped them and it works a lot better. It's not perfect. This bottom fitting is leaking. I have fittings that I printed out. They're printed out of TPU, which is just a different type of plastic you can use in a 3D printer. And the other thing was I had a plastic fitting on the air side and it actually broke because I tightened it too much. So luckily I had printed the version where you can go plastic and then insert a brass fitting. So that's what we have in there now. What do I think? I think this one-way valve is killing a lot of my airflow. This is 3/8 line, and I think in here it's neck down to like 1/4 inch. I took it apart, tried to open it up a little bit, and made a small difference, but not probably enough. Maybe gonna look at a better one. Maybe we'll do that. Anyways, it works. I have to make the gasket for the window. I have to install the gloves. The door is still drying. I'll show you how it goes. I'm gonna put all this on a switch, probably mounted to the actual cabinet itself. Probably put all this in the right way so we don't make a mess, because it is quite a bit of pressure. It's a 3/4 horse submersible pump down in there, so it's got a bit of a kick to it. So let's hold this. So that's just water. There's no glass beads or anything in it right now. And it's got a pretty steady stream. So then we give it some throttle here. Okay, it's kind of a lot to manage with everything being open. One other issue that I had was this hose popped off with the fitting that comes from Harbor Freight. So I just put a 3/8 barb in it. I want to get a 90 degree here so everything just kind of flows down in there, but for right now it's fine. Overall, I'm excited to try it. I got to get the parts off the car so I can actually vapor blast them since I installed everything just to see how it would fit. But like all these brackets and stuff, like all of this stuff is, I might even do the water pump, even though you won't be able to see it. All this stuff is going to look like brand new when I'm done. So I'm pretty excited about it. All right, it's a new day. We got some things accomplished. I went ahead and countersunk the plastic on the frame here so that it encapsulates the nut. I cut out the surround for the foam. These are all stainless hardware. I purchased them. I have wing nuts. So basically what's going to happen is the plastic is going to sit on top of the glass, and then the clear piece is going to sit on top of that, and then this is going to just sandwich the whole thing down. But the wing nuts will be on the outside, so you don't have to reach in and grab everything and disassemble it that way. You just undo the wing nuts and you can replace everything. The glass that I have in here is the standard Harbor Freight glass for now. But what I did on the backside where they give you those replaceable covers, I put Rain-X on it. Someone said that helped a lot, so we'll see. All right, here we go. So we're about ready to start the first test with everything sealed up. I need to put the cover over that. And probably once I start, I'll actually get the vacuum hooked up. But for right now, we at least have the door and everything installed, and the window, and a light, and the gloves, and everything that I will need. So let's see what this looks like. Wow. I'm also going to be checking for leaks because it's entirely possible that something is not sealed. Gotta wash these gloves off. Let me just put you down. Try with some air. Boy, that feels like it's gonna work pretty good. Wow. Cool. Let me just hit the switch. So door is leaking, which, it was definitely possible that the overhang wasn't far enough, but it's also possible the door seal is not enough. I have seen some people upgrade them, so that will be something I'll do. That is interesting. Water all the way up in there. And I sprayed it out of there on accident. But otherwise, just a little hole there. None of the seams appear to be leaking. Good drip down in the bucket. But I think for now, a little leak is fine. I just need to get these parts done and move on with the project. But this was pretty successful. Pretty happy with it. Okay, so we have great feedback on this system. Absolutely 100%, even with the amount of work necessary, recommend this setup. I need to seal the door better. I need to stop spraying water on this side so it goes on over here. But for the most part, this thing is amazing, and pictures really speak for themselves. I thought maybe it would be a little bit faster. The grit that I used is number 10. It's 100, 170. I did spray myself in the legs a few times by forcing the water down into the return section. And the window needs some kind of a cleaning system, either a sprayer or some kind of a windshield wiper I've seen people do. But even with all of that being said, if I couldn't change anything, I would still do this. The results speak for themselves, as you see in the pictures, but I'll just show you. This guy here just came out. No, it's not perfect. And I could probably spend a little more time and get it closer to perfect. But at this point, that is about as clean as anything I have on the car. So I think we're going to be good with that. But I mean, from what it looked like to what it is now, just amazing. I didn't put any of the bearings and stuff in there because I don't know how compatible glass beads are with bearings. I mean, obviously, if it's in there, it's not compatible, but these are sealed bearings, so you would think it would be okay. But these are plastic pulleys anyways, so I don't really need to go that far. What did it take me? An hour to do all the things that you just saw. Absolutely awesome. I'm going to try and do a tally on what it cost me. It was a little cheaper for me because I had the sump pump, I had the bucket, I had the miscellaneous fittings. Probably the most expensive thing I bought was the hose and that foot actuator right there. For the most part, I had everything else. Oh, and the media. The media was probably the most expensive. I think it was like $30, but that's reusable, which is great. Okay, and here's the last update on the vapor cabinet. It's in its permanent home. We have a few things left to do, but some upgrades that I made. We put a glove on there with a zip tie. We'll see if that lasts. I put some lights on the inside. They are fixed in a way that I got them to work. They were supposed to double-sided tape to the Flex Seal, but unfortunately they don't stick, so I had to make some little standoffs that I could zip tie to. I think it's going to be fine, and it doesn't blind me while I'm standing there. So this is the last part we're going to do. It's for the alternator. I'm going to throw it in there, show you how it works. We also did some seal upgrades. I did notice that someone online said that they had to space out their bracket because it is kind of bowing as it tightens, but we'll see. I think everything's a lot better than it was. The only other thing that we have to figure out is the glass. So it definitely gets a lot of media on it. I'll typically wash it off or wipe it off with a glove, but it's not the best solution. It would probably be better if we had like a wiper or something, but let's get going here.
While you watch this satisfying video, let me go into a little further detail about the differences between sand blasting and vapor blasting. Sand blasting fires dry abrasive media like sand, glass beads, or aluminum oxide at a surface using high-pressure compressed air. It strips rust, paint, and scale fast, but that dry impact is aggressive. It can warp thin metal, create micro cracks, and leave a rough, jagged surface profile. It also kicks up a lot of dust, which is a serious health and safety concern. Vapor blasting, also called wet blasting, mixes that same abrasive with water before it hits the surface. The water cushions each particle on impact, so you get a much smoother peened finish. It cleans and finishes in one pass, flushes away debris as it works, and produces virtually no dust. Sandblasting is your heavy-duty workhorse. Vapor blasting is the precision choice, ideal for engine parts, alloys, and anything where surface quality matters.
All right, here we are. Obviously, there's a lot of media left on it, but she looks pretty darn good considering. I did some Alumabrite on this one. I think it made a pretty good difference. There was definitely a lot of just dirt and stuff embedded on this side that it took out. But honestly, you're never going to see any of this. It's so low on the engine that it's just kind of a good tester. But it turned out great. I absolutely love the vapor cabinet. It would be nice to play around with the different nozzles to see if maybe I can get a little more abrasion. It is a little bit slow. I don't know. It's way better than having none at all, but it does take a little while. I just feel like some of the pitting, like this, on a professional one, I feel like this would come out looking brand new. Like there would be nothing left except clean aluminum. Whereas the one that I have, I don't know if maybe because the 100 to 170 grit just won't take off enough to get all that out. I don't really feel like stepping to a different grit. This is totally sufficient for me, but like I said, it would be nice if it was just perfect when it was done. This one did not get any Alumabrite, and you can tell that it looks brand new. So it really just depends on how dirty the metal is and how long you spend on it. But for the price I have wrapped up in it, I cannot complain. And I'll put the price on the screen right now. So I owned a lot of this stuff already, like the pump and the Flex Seal, but the going rate for all these things is what you're seeing. And then obviously I had the blast cabinet as well. So absolutely love taking something that I wasn't using in the corner of my shop that I thought, why do I even own this? And turning it into something that I love. That's the best. I'm sure I'll be using this for years.